You guys hear about anything we've been going over? This is the first time you know what's going on? All right, just checking. I have a quick question. What class is this you all are in? Video production. Who wants to get into video production at one point? Who's interested in getting in that space? Maybe, yeah. You can do a little something there. Okay, right. So let me tell you a little bit about what my company does, what we do, and I'm going to go over a couple things that I think can help you not only find your dream job, but can help you live your best life. What do you think about that? Sounds good to me, right? Sounds good to you. Look at you two again. Remember when we interviewed? That was fun, huh? You know what these two got? They won the Billion Gallon Challenge. You hear about that?
Oh, yeah.
Who won first prize? What did you get?
Good job.
$1,000. Because what did she do? She went out of her way, made a video, everybody liked it, and she won. You won $500, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? There's some money to be made here, folks. So let me tell you a little bit about myself, the business, what we do, and then I'm going to get an idea about what you guys do, and we'll see what we can find that can match up. What grade are you guys? Juniors?
Yeah.
So you got one more year. You're going to be a senior, and then what are you going to do after that? Go to college. What are you going to do after that? Go to college, university, and get a job. Who's got a dream job that they're like, I would love to do this? What is it?
I want to be a screenwriter for movies and stuff.
Screenwriter, right on. What about you?
Be a school counselor.
School counselor. Who else? Game design. Massive, massive industry. Yeah.
Computer animator,
Computer animator. Like what kind of animations?
like 3D animation.
For like entertainment?
Entertainment.
For entertainment, okay. Anybody else?
PE teacher.
PE teacher, right on. So, when I first started out looking at different jobs, things I want to do, does anybody have an idea of like they don't know what they want to do? Like, yeah, for sure, right? I didn't know for many years. I'm still kind of trying to figure it out as well, right? So I grew up in Los Angeles, and I knew that I like different things. I want to be a high school teacher. I want to be a history professor. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I decided to just kind of try out a bunch of different stuff. For 5 years after I graduated, I went to community college, took a bunch of different classes. I learned a bunch of stuff that I liked, and I began to slowly kind of get an idea of what I liked. And I like communication. I like video production. All the stuff that you're seeing here is content from jobs that we've shot. In this footage here, is anybody interested in like camera operators, like photography, video, that kind of stuff? If you're learning about it in class, there's a camera called the Red Dragon. That camera costs about $80,000. And some of this footage we shot with the Red Dragon. Some of this footage we shot with an iPhone. Can you tell which footage is which? No, you can't. Technology is changing. Things are changing so fast that if you study for one thing today, in 2 years that job may be obsolete, or it'll be not what you thought it was going to be. Okay? So there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about today for the rest of this section that I hope you get a little bit of an idea of that might help you kind of save some of the pain that I went through as I was, moving on. So I grew up in Los Angeles. I went to college for a little bit. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So in 2006, I decided to join the Marine Corps. I didn't know what I wanted to do. My family didn't have money, so college was super difficult to go towards, right? I was like, I can't afford it. We can't afford it. What am I going to do? So I joined the Marines. I was in there for 4 years. I was a machine gunner. I did security patrols in Iraq, and I also did like security intelligence. So figuring out who's doing what in the community. So I loved it. But that allowed me, when I got out of the military, to look at things a little bit differently. And so when I left the military, I was like, okay, I want to go get a job. And I applied to tons of jobs, but nobody hired me. How come nobody hired me? I had no experience. They were like, yeah, you got some experience for the military, but you need to get an education, dude. You need to get a degree. Okay, fine. So I went back to school, and I focused on my professional education. And I went to Cal State Long Beach. I went there, and then after that, my dream was to go to USC. Who has a dream school they want to go to? That they're thinking about? What's yours? Yeah. Anybody else want to share their dream school? Yeah,
UC Irvine.
UC Irvine. What do you think? Yeah,
UCLA.
UCLA. Oh, I can see it, right? What about you?
New York Film Academy, Los Angeles.
Yeah, you got it, right? And so it's super important. It's so important to have these dreams of where you want to be and what you want to do. And my dream was to go to USC, right? I was like, I want to go to the University of Southern California. People really value that. That's a really cool school. There's no way I can afford it. There's no way I could get in. So I worked really hard. I applied, and I got into USC. And I finished up in 2015 with a master's degree in business. I was like, sweet, now I want to start my own business, right? That's where this comes in. So Surge Consulting Group is a communication consulting company. We do video content. We do a couple different things. And so one of our main services right now is we develop social media content for brands. So a company will hire us to create a ton of videos that they can put on their like Instagram accounts. Who's on Instagram? Who's on Facebook? Not as many people anymore. Who's on Twitter? A lot. Who's on LinkedIn? Cricket. Nobody. Who knows what LinkedIn is? What is it?
It's like a job. It's like a social media kind of, but for like job.
Exactly. Absolutely. LinkedIn is like any other social media account, but it's specifically for like business professionals. I have a LinkedIn account. One of my goals when I started this company, nobody would hire me because I didn't have any experience. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start a company. I'm going to get experience, and then you'll hire me. Right? That's totally what I started doing. And so as I started getting experience, I built a strong LinkedIn profile, and now I get 2 job offers a week from different companies trying to recruit you. And so if you're like, LinkedIn's for whoever or whatever, it's literally a portal to your dream job. And I've had job interviews, like think of like a dream company. Like, who would want to work at Disney? Who think that'd be kind of cool? Like, because of my LinkedIn account, I've had 3 job offers for literally my dream job at Disney. I said no, because it wasn't the right time for me right now, but there might be something later on, which is important, okay? So let me show you a couple of different things that we've got. So we develop social media content. We developed some pieces here. Let's see what this is here. Oh. Here's one. Let's see if it plays. No internet. Okay. Let's try. Reset. So we will create like little posts like this for companies. We'll create a ton of this stuff, and then they'll buy the whole package. So we'll say, like for example, this is a promotional video for the city of Arcadia, and we developed 101 10-second videos, and that campaign was 101 ways to have fun in Arcadia. Okay, and then we sold those videos, and now they're excited and happy about it. And so here's one. Here I'll show you one kind of quick little video. Let's see if this plays.
Anywhere I go, anywhere, I'll take you anywhere I go, anywhere, I'll take you anywhere I go, anywhere, I'll take you anywhere I go, anywhere.
All right, so for them, we created 15 different clips like that. Super short, quick, just for them to get on, post stuff, right? And that's what people want. Nobody wants like a 20-minute video that, someone's sitting there, hi, my name's Ryan, blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares. Nobody has time to listen. This has changed significantly in the last few years. There was a time when Facebook was the king. Everyone was on Facebook. Now it's shifting, right? Who's on Snapchat? Maybe you don't want to admit that you are, okay? But Snapchat's changed. A lot of the features that Snapchat did really well, Instagram has literally taken over that space, right? And so we know this. You guys are good at adapting and getting on things. How many of you have ever had to show like a parent or grandparent how to do something like, what? How do I get on here? And you're like, you push this button and it goes. And they go, what? With this button? And then no, So that's your ability to be adaptable. And that is one of the most important things that's going to launch you into a successful career, is that comfort and adaptability. So I'll show you one more quick little thing here. Let's blah, 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 blah. Let's see, I think I want to see you guys. Yeah, who's this?
Jelena. inspiration for the video that I have created was to show awareness to people in Tulare County to save water for our community as it's important for our survival. I realized that water plays a huge role in my life, and I see so many people take for granted the gifts the Earth has given us, and I really just wanted to say something and, like, stick up for the planet.
Yes! That was a big, right? Round of applause! First and second place. Now, did anybody catch the error in that? Say it again? Good eye. There was a misspelling. So our editor sent that to us, right? And we had to double check it, and it went out with a misspelling. We missed that. So whose fault is that? It's eventually whose? Mine, right? So we had an editor who knocked this out. We sent it to the client. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, whatever. And then they put it on their Instagram account. And like 3 weeks later, they had somebody comment, "Hey, there's a misspelling in there." How does that make them look now? Right? Like you can't even spell a word right. That means that you're stupid, right? Totally. All these little things. And so kind of taking a step back and not being in a rush and making sure you're doing things thoughtfully is extremely important. So good job. Let me show you. Let's see if this other one's up here. No. Okay. So I'll play you a couple more. We've got a bunch of different stuff up here. You can check out if you ever want to. And let's see this one.
When you're baling hay at night, when the sun comes up in the morning, you see what you accomplished. When you're out with the cows, and you have a cow that calves, and you have to assist her in birthing that calf, it's just gives you a certain amount of satisfaction. It's putting seeds in the ground several times a year for a variety of crops and watching them come up and harvest them. Everything's a challenge. This just doesn't happen automatically. And everybody is a family. Agriculture is a family. The people that work for me, they're part of my family. We don't have the same names or the same heritage, but regardless of what segment you're in, it's a family.
How do you guys feel about that video? What do you feel right now? Huh? You feel hungry?
No, it's a family.
You feel family. What does that mean?
Just say a lot.
Feel like, were you interested? Who was interested in that video? I saw everyone was watching. Were you engaged? No. You were like, oh, what's this? What was it about it that made you interested and engaged?
The shots.
The shots were beautiful. The music was kind of compelling. There was a cool story. You hear him talking about this. It's like, oh, you're hooked. Those are the 3 parts of every video that we look at. What's the story of the piece? Is the imagery beautiful? What's the music? It's like a tripod. If you don't have those 3 pieces, the whole thing collapses, right? And so this is a video that we did for the state of California because they were trying to figure out ways to drive attention to the drought issue. You guys know about the drought at all? Have you heard about it? Right? You might. Yeah. Okay. Right. Absolutely. So we develop a lot of this content for them, and we have clients that they try to figure out ways to communicate what they're trying to do, and so we create this content and we ship it out to them. Now, something that I think is very important is a couple different things, and we've adjusted what we do. We've adjusted our business. We've changed different things. We're flexible. We're adaptable, and we pivot when something changes. And this is what I want to talk about. These points right here. These are our 8 blocks, our 8 different elements of strategic implementation. It's basically the 8 components of how to be successful. And I wish that somebody had talked to me about this when I was in your steps, because I spent 15 years figuring this out, and now I get it. And I wish that I was in high school and somebody came and said, hey, I want you to think about yourself in these different ways, and it's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of hassle. Who is looking to do like a job over the summer, or who's done a job over the summer, right? And you kind of take what you can get, right? You're like, I gotta go. I've done it all. I was a dishwasher, I was a custodian, I've done all sorts of different tasks. And each one of those different things is one of my building blocks. And it helped me decide what I want to do. That kind of makes sense, right? That's one of the points of high school and college, is to try out a bunch of different stuff. So you go, I really like this, and I didn't like that. Does anybody have a favorite class in school right now? Like something kind of jumps out at you, and you have stuff you don't like, right? And so that's the whole point. You're supposed to be exposed to this stuff. So let's go over these. If you've got a pen and pencil, I highly encourage you to write these down. It's something that there's going to be a test on later. No, I'm just kidding. But I got your attention, right? I want you guys to think about these. Yeah, you're all nervous and scared, right? I really want you to think about these, and it's something that we've been going over with the rest of the class. Each one of these elements is a different characteristic that I want all of you to think about when you're moving on. Write these notes, fold it up, put it in someplace safe, and think about this. I do this, I teach this for big companies will hire us to teach their employees this kind of stuff. So you guys are kind of getting a sneak peek on a lot of this professional development implementation stuff. And again, I wish that somebody talked to me about this because, you know, I still am trying to figure out what I want to do. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So, each one of these building blocks is one thing that you can do right away to make sure that you're putting yourself in the best situation to literally have your dream job. Who wants to travel? Who would love to travel the world, make $100,000 a year, and take pictures and put it on Instagram? Lots of people do that. Why can't you do that? What's holding you back? Like, you can't do it because you can't afford it, right? You can't make it. What else? Where to start, right? Like, I have no idea where to begin. Okay? Who would like to, let's see, who would like to work at Disney and like work at the parks and train other people how to do different like jobs? You know, you think about who would like to work on a cruise line and travel the world on a cruise and maybe like, you know, take videos of the cruise or something. If you can dream a type of job, there's one out there. You just haven't found it yet. If you're like, I really like, I don't know, I really like just hanging out at home and, you know, go on my laptop. There's jobs now you can work 100% remote if you wanted to. So let's go over some of these. The very first element I want to encourage you to be comfortable and know is a question mark. And this is the idea of being curious. Be as curious as possible. Develop that inquisitivity inside. Make sure that you are constantly questioning, well, okay, I did 2 jobs over the summer, and I didn't like either of them. What should be your next thought if you're curious?
What's one that I really like?
Yeah, absolutely. How come I didn't like that? Why not? What would I like instead? Right? Totally. What else? If you're maybe in school and you're like, oh, I love PE. It's my favorite thing. What is it about PE that you like? And once you start kind of chipping away at that questioning, it helps you decide what's important to you. Who would like to drive a Ferrari? Have one. Why? Because they're cool. Well, why are they cool? Because they're expensive, right? So, how are you going to get one? You got to have money. Do you think that's enough motivation for people to basically give up what they want to do in life to make as much money as possible so they can drive a Ferrari? And then what do? They're driving a Ferrari and they go, it's all right. I'm kind of over it. There's a thing that happens called the Adaption Principle, where you will cognitively adapt to any situation that you're exposed to. So people that win the lottery, within a year, they're either completely bankrupt or dead. How come? It's like 80% of people that win the lottery. Go ahead. Yeah, they adapted. They were like, oh man, I need more money to be happy, so I'm going to spend it all because that's what brings me joy. And so it's just funny to think, to see this. So I really want you to develop this curiosity. Like, oh, I'd love to. I'd love to be an Instagram blogger, travel the world, but I can't. Why not? Well, I don't have enough money. How much money does it take to do that? I took off a year and a half and lived on $16,000 for that year. Can you believe that? It was the worst, but it worked. Okay. So I want you to be curious. I want you to think. I want you to like question stuff. Don't just be like, yeah, whatever. I can't. There's no way I can go to my dream school. I'll never get my dream job. Why not? Right? Number 2 is a variety of arrows pointing in different directions. Now, if you do have a dream, if you do want to do something, one of the most important components is block number 2 with the arrows pointing in different directions. And this stands for put yourself in situations to succeed. Put yourself in environments for success. So what this translates to is if, hey Ryan, you know, I'd love to be a photographer, but I'm working right now at Denny's part-time. And I go, okay, how does that environment help you be a photographer? That makes sense, right? So if you're like, well, Denny's is having me take over their Instagram account. Aha, excellent. That's giving you experience and exposure, right? But if I want to be a photographer, do you think it might be a better idea to find a part-time job at a photography studio to learn from the experts? Absolutely. So put yourselves in these situations to kind of go, right on, I like this. Or, you know what, I thought I wanted to be a photographer, but it's the worst. When I started this, all this footage that you see, I shot myself. I learned the systems, I did it. Now we're at a situation where I'm able to hire people that can do it better than I can because they have more experience than me. Does that make sense? And I was like, ugh, I don't want to carry this camera around, it's too heavy. You know what I'm saying? No, nothing about it. So put yourself in situations to go, yeah, right on, I like that. That was really cool. I want to be a librarian now. I love being around the books and, you know, it's like Harry Potter in here, you know, kind of thing. So something to think about. 100% is the concept of, quick question, does anybody have questions on the environment thing? That makes sense, right? Put yourself in a situation to learn and grow. And that's with a job, that's the people you surround yourself with, okay? Number 3 right here is 100%. And you've probably heard this before, but no matter what you're doing, give it what? Give it your all. If you're gonna, I was a janitor for a while. I washed dishes at restaurants, and those were the cleanest dishes that restaurant has ever seen. I took pride in that. When I was a janitor, I'd clean the trash cans out, and I'd get a hot rag and wipe the outsides and dry it off, so everything just kind of sparkled. And people were like, right on. That does 2 things when you give it, no matter what it is, if you give it 100% and you just drill it down to the ground, 2 things happen. What's the first one? Say again? People see that. And if you're in a situation to get noticed, that's a good thing, right? Hey, that was cool. You want to come with us on our next job and introduce you to whatever it might be. So you never have that opportunity if you don't give it your all and you're not in the situation to get noticed. But it also does a second thing. What happens? You become proud. You are now proud of that. Who's ever had to do like manual labor? Digging ditches, digging trenches. And who does this? I do. Where if I have to do that, I play a game with myself. I'll go, okay, I gotta dig, you know, this many feet of a trench. I'm gonna see if I can do it in this fast or this quick, right? It's just kind of a thing. And if it's done well and done nice, you take pride in that. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, that's the best looking trench you've ever seen, right? I enjoy that. So give it 100%. People will most likely notice when you give it 90%, right? Like, they don't pick up your thought. And people love to do this. What? Gossip, gossip, gossip. 100%. No matter what you're doing, give it 100%. This is an important, crucial aspect of your growth as a student, is to ask people for help. And it's not just help, but ask people for guidance, ask people for advice, okay? When you're a student, you have a grace period. People want to help you. So if you're like, I don't know what I want to do, and they'll say, well, you want to hang out with me at my company for a week and see what it's like? What should you say? Yeah, totally. And you might go, right on, I want to do that. And they'll say, cool, come work with me. Give it 100%, you might have a cool opportunity. But if you don't do these things, are those things going to happen? A lot of times we expect what? We just expect good stuff to happen to us. That doesn't happen. We have to get out there and get it, and this is how we get it. So ask people for help. If there's, when I say help, I also mean advice. Ask people for a quick ask. Something that I do a lot is I will ask somebody to schedule, if they have time, a 30-minute phone call with me. So before I applied to the Disney jobs, I found somebody on LinkedIn that worked there. And I said, hey, Stacy, I'm thinking about applying for this job at Disney. Do you have 30 minutes just to talk about what your experience was like at Disney? And what do people do when you ask for a favor like that?
Yeah, sure.
Like 99% of the time, they're like, yeah, totally. Let's talk next week on the phone. If you say, hey, Stacy, can we go on a retreat to Mexico for a week and we can really connect and we can talk about, what are they gonna say? They're not gonna say anything because that's creepy and weird, right? And so just do small little asks. People are willing to give their time and knowledge if you don't make it uncomfortable and inconvenient for them, okay? So ask for help. This piece up here stands for there is no substitute at all than having a diversity of experiences that you can draw from. DE stands for have a diversity of experiences. What does that mean? Diversity of experiences. Yeah.
Having experience in multiple fields.
Just different stuff. If you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm like, why not? I don't know. I've never done it. Just try it. Now you'll know you don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? You guys know people like that? Where there's always like, oh, I don't want to go. I want to stay home. It's like, you never know what's going to happen. Put yourself in a situation. Give it 100%, maybe something will happen. Because if you just stay home all the time, is something good going to happen to you? Well, like you might meet somebody. I worked, I volunteered at a nonprofit, and I was supposed to go to the Philippines to do some aid work when the tsunami came through. And I couldn't go because I was in school. So I had to stay back, and I basically washed dishes and cleaned up after everybody that was leaving. And I was all mad when I was cleaning the dishes, I was putting stuff away, I'd go get food for everybody, and I was all bummed out. And I'm in there washing dishes, and this guy comes in and starts talking to me. I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm a little bummed out, I can't go. And does anybody know John Oliver? He's like a comedian kind of a thing. He's like a late night talk show guy. And I was like, oh, hey man. He's like, hey, you know, sorry you couldn't go, but you know, I'm bummed to hear that. We got to talking, now we have a relationship, and we've done some programs and development stuff together. And it's like, that would have never happened if I didn't what? Step out of my comfort zone and not just go, I can't go, I'm gonna go home. I'm like, I'll stick around. You never know what's gonna happen, you know, like spooky Harry Potter style. You know what I'm saying? You never know what's gonna happen. If you don't put yourself in those situations, then nothing will happen. It'll just kind of, you know, exist. Sounds terrible, doesn't it? BA. Any questions on diversity of experiences? That makes sense, right? Just go do something different. What you got? BA stands for, now this is a little bit of a different concept, but something I really want you to think about is, what is your brand association? So BA stands for brand association. What on earth does brand association mean? Well, yeah, what do you guys think? Who can tell me? What is a brand? What is a brand? What's the value of a brand? Say again? Here you go. What is that?
I don't know, like a brand like Gucci, like something you're known for.
Gucci, Ferrari, yes, exactly right. So you think about that. Why did you think about that? Because you think that it's a brand. Where's the value in Gucci? It's quality because it's what? It's like a name brand, right? Kanye West's shirts cost what? Like $600? His clothing line, but I can go, oh, this is a Kanye West shirt, you know? This is a Costco shirt right here. It cost me like $12. So there's a huge value. It's called brand association, brand value attribution. Now what this means is that when you start thinking about branding yourself, you're going to put yourselves in situations and different experiences that speak to your brand values. Start thinking about it like that. So if you meet somebody and you go, hey, nice to meet you. And I say, yeah, nice to meet you too. And they say, tell me your story, Brian. And I go, well, I was in the Marine Corps. I was in intelligence. After I left that, I graduated from USC, and I with my business degree and a master's business degree, and I started a consulting business. Those are some pretty strong brands, right? So who knows what the Marine Corps is? Okay? Are there not values of that organization that are now associated with me because I was part of it? You guys see how that works? So if you meet somebody and you're like, hey, nice to meet you, they go, yeah, I was a Navy SEAL for 20 years. You go, holy smokes. You must be somebody, because that's hard to do. So you need to think about how are you building your brand association, okay? Now what this is going to look like is in a few years, a few months, at some point you're going to have to make a decision. Something's going to come up. Maybe you got into two different schools. Maybe you have a job that's coming up. Maybe somebody says, hey, you want to come work with me at my pottery making company and build pots for a while? And you're going to ask yourself this question: how does that build to my brand, right? How does working there help tell my story? And I knew that I wanted to go to the best school in my area, and that was USC for me. And that's it was hard, but I got there because I knew that that's part of the story I wanted to tell. Does that make sense? Building your brand, telling your story, right? Everybody close your eyes real quick. Close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. And visualize in your mind a cup of coffee. What is the logo on that cup? Inherit the values of that group. And so who's ever had a friend or a family member go, I don't know why they hang out with them, because that person's trash, right? That's brand association, guys. So be picky with who you spend time with, because everything's going to count towards you and your values. And why do they do that? Right? Well, people are judgy, but that's the way the world works. So when you're thinking about taking that next job or taking that new opportunity, think about how does it speak to what I'm doing, right? Like you guys selected to be in the Pathways program. That's a choice that you decided to do, and the Pathways program has a lot of credibility, and that's a good thing to speak to. So you can kind of go, yeah, I decided to do this because I'm motivated to better my life. I want new opportunities for me. These are how you get new opportunities, guys. These are how you get doors to open for you, following these steps, okay? Any questions on brand association? Yeah, you like that Starbucks coffee cup, huh? Now I'm thinking about that. Oh, sweet treat there, okay? So brand association is super important. Think about it. If you get accepted to 2 different colleges, and one of them is, somebody tell me a dream school. UCSB, Santa Barbara? I'm going there next week. Do some training. UC Santa Barbara. What about Stanford? What about Harvard? What about Cambridge? If you got accepted into like Yale or Harvard, or you got accepted to the University of Meme Land of the internet, which one are you going to pick? Of course you would, right? Now, which one when you're on a job? Hi, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. Yes, sir. Yes, I went to the University of Meme Land, the state of the internet. You know, people, they're going to be like, what is this? You guys get it, right? It's all about that. It's all about who are you? Who are you? What brands are you bringing in and build your story out, okay? Any questions on that? That kind of makes sense, right? I want you to think about that when you have to make a decision. Think about which one's helping to tell your story and build your brand. This little R right here stands for probably the cornerstone, the biggest component of all of this stuff. It stands for research. What did you think it was? Huh? Risk. Oh, that's a good one too. Research. There is no substitute for just getting your elbows dirty and doing some research on this stuff. If you're like, I want to go to Harvard. Cool. Well, why do you want to go to Harvard? It's always been a dream of mine. Right on. What are you going to do to get there? What do you have to do? Well, Harvard only accepts, 2% of applicants. Right? And I'm saying, forget about it. Keep looking. Find a program. Find something that's going to help you. Maybe ask for help from somebody that went to Harvard that maybe can introduce you to somebody. Do you see how all these connect and work together? They all work together to help you be in a situation where you can make the next step. But do your research. If you're going to have to speak to anything, if you're going to have to go to a job interview, what should you do before you go to that job interview? Research. What should you research? The company. And how do you do that? Siri. Go to Google. Go to Disney's website. Right? Google the thing. Look it up. Find stuff out. Because if you go to a job interview and you ask a question that is clearly on their website, what's that interviewer going to say? You didn't even take the time to look this up? That store's been closed for a year. You should have known that. Well, I really want to work there. I really want to work at this branch. Branch closed last year. It's on the website. Thanks for the interview. Because you didn't do what? You've got to do this. This is probably most people's least favorite part of this whole development process. Because it takes time. When we do research for a new client, which we're going to break this down, this is usually about a week and a half, a week's worth of work. Just really getting in. Who do we have? Who can we plug into? Who do we know? Really exhausting that. Because if I approach a new client, if I approach somebody that we're going to create some content for, and I'm like, you guys should make some videos, about this. And if they're like, yeah, we have that, Ryan. It's on our website. Did you not see that? I'm like, oh, no, I didn't see that. It was just a good idea. How are they going to see me? No value there, right? That's the last thing you want. Do some research, whatever you want to do. If you're curious about it and you're in a situation, look it up. Well, I really want to be a photographer, but there's no photography studios around here. How do you know? I never see any when I drive to school. Okay. There's a little magical portal called Google that you can find things at. See what I'm saying? Do the research. Last but not least, everything that you do, every decision you make goes to building your story. That's the most powerful thing, is building your brand story. And where are you going? What do you want to accomplish? Most people now have between 7 to 8 careers in their lifetime. So you don't get one job and you're there for 50 years building cars on the assembly line. It doesn't work like that anymore. You have an evolutionary piece Well, you're changing jobs and you're opening yourself up to new opportunities, right? And so if you're not thinking like, how does what I'm doing today help build my story? If you're not thinking about that, you're kind of staying stuck. Who wants to be stuck? Who wants to have opportunities and things pop up and go, yeah, I'd love to be an Instagram blogger. Cool. Well, all right. We have clients that need that. We can figure out a way to get that, okay? There's ways to make things happen. It's just letting people know your story as well. So who's ever done a 30-second elevator pitch? Who knows what that is? Does anybody want to do one? You don't have to do it. Who can explain what it is? Go ahead.
Basically just like something that you say in case you ever run into someone that might help you out sometime, or you're just in general introducing yourself and introducing your life and what you do.
And it's like this.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. It's just like, it's literally if you're in the elevator and you go, oh my goodness, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I'm like, you do the Predator noise. And something, a friend of mine did that. He didn't know what to say. He panicked, and Arnold's in there on his phone, and he goes like, who's ever seen Predator? Come on, You know at the end when he does his little buttons? He goes, beep, boop, boop. He goes, raw, 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 raw. And so my friend standing there, he goes, raw, 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 raw. Right? And he's like, I didn't know what to do. I panicked. I guess he just looked up at him and was like, but he was like, I should have. Who's ever had that happen? Where like you maybe meet up with somebody? Who's ever had that happen where they see Arnold Schwarzenegger and they do the Predator voice, right? No, who's ever been in that situation when you leave afterwards and you're like, I should have said this. Everybody's been there, right? How do you prevent the regret from happening again? Perfect practice makes perfect preparation, right? You got to think about it that way. Practice yourself. Just kind of get used to that, right? Get your 30-second pitch down. Tell your story. I've got different versions of my story depending on who I run into, who I talk to. If it's a prospective client, I talk about the business stuff. If it's somebody who like maybe we'll be friends or something, I talk about my family and that kind of thing. So you kind of have different versions based on who your audience is. That makes sense, doesn't it? But prepare this, practice this. Practice doing interviews. Who's ever done that before? Have your parents interview you, right? Go online, look at the top 10 interview questions. Do some research and look at who knows who Elon Musk is? Elon Musk has a process during his interview, he gives you a real world project to solve in 6 hours. So he says, give us the whole day, we're gonna interview with you, and you have to go with the team and see if you can solve a problem that we're having. And it's like, are you prepared for that? But if you Google Tesla and SpaceX projects, you would see that and you'd be prepared, right? Preparation helps, okay? So, looking at these different elements, do you see how they all kind of work together? They're just different tools that you can use that can help you be successful later on in your paths. The next thing, we're going on time, right?
Yeah, we've got less than 10 minutes.
Ooh, we gotta speed it up, guys. We got one last thing that we want to go through. Is this helpful? These are like different traits that I found just to be so helpful. And if you're missing a couple of these, the whole thing falls apart. And it's like, yeah, Brian was proactive, he knew everything about us, but as soon as he got here, he just didn't pull his own weight. You know what I mean? Boom, the whole thing falls apart. Or like, yeah, I've always wanted to be an actor. Cool, what are you doing about it? Huh? I don't know. Nothing's really come up. I want somebody to stop me on the street and say, you're gonna be an actor. It's not how it works. Do some research in the industry, find people to ask for help, put yourself in a situation to do well, and give 100%. You see that, right? Remember these blocks. The next thing I want to show you is twofold. One of them is how our business cycle works, how we get clients, and how you are going to go out and get your dream job. It's the same thing. So one of the things that we do when we come up with different ways to come up with content, we do this thing called prospecting. Does anybody know what prospecting is, or interested in marketing kind of thing? Prospecting is the idea of looking at a market, looking at an area, and figuring out who in that area is interested in a service or a product. So, for example, what type of video production do you think Monache High School would be interested in paying for and developing? What would be a good thing for them to do? You guys are juniors? So what would be cool for you? Maybe different videos of the teachers for the senior year and introducing themselves. like 30-second introduction videos. Hi, I'm Professor Smith, I teach history. I'm excited for you to be in my class. Would that be cool? Yeah, and you can watch it and go, oh, that's cool, right? When you get to college, there's a website called Rate My Professor, and that's all they do. They have these different portals, and what I would do is if I have to take a math class, I scroll through Rate My Professor and go, who's the one that's the easiest? You know, oh yeah, that's the one I want. Laid back, no problem. They pass you if you have a pulse. I'm like, got it, right? So what these things do is they give you an opportunity to take a little bit of the fear away, right? So let's say we have an idea. We want to make 12 30-second videos about teachers. That's a good idea, right? That's a great idea. And so the next thing you need to ask yourself, have a little inquisitivity that we ask, okay, that's a good idea. Who would pay for that? So what different types of groups would pay for those videos to be made? What do you think? The school itself, right? Monache? Monache? Potato, guys. High school, okay? So yeah, maybe the high school will pay for it. Who else might pay for that? Would the teachers pay for it? The school district. The school district. What about the state? Would the state care about making promoting the school, maybe getting some information out? What about local like charity groups or nonprofits or people that have an investment in the education of a community? So you can look at different sponsorships. Maybe you can look at another aspect and say, hey, Dave's Tire Shop. Would you like to donate $1,000 and we'll put your logo on these videos that we make that we show the students? Yeah, totally we want to do that. Perfect. That's third-party sponsorship, which is another avenue that we look at for revenue generation. So when you look at these different things, you go, well, who's going to pay for that? So if I go, hey, I want to make 12 30-second videos, is the next thing I do jump right over to the high school and go, hey, I have a cool idea. I want to make these videos for you. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to say, sure. What do you think? What's good about it? Why should I do it? They're going to hit you with a bunch of questions. And if you haven't done what? Research, are you going to succeed or fail? You're going to fail. So research looks like the who, when, what, where, why, and how. Who, when, what, where, why, and how. So is it the W's and the H, I guess, okay? So you go who, when, what, where, why, and how. That's how you do your research. So you go, that's an excellent question, high school. Now, Bakersfield High School did the same campaign a year ago, and now they are the #1 rated school in the world, right? They go, what? And they go, it's true. Here's the research. Here, look at it. It says it right there. And they go, holy smokes, we need to do this too. And I say, yes. And it's going to cost $1.9 million. And they say, do it. Let's do it tomorrow, right? And you get excited about it, and moving because you've done what? Because you've done the research, because you put 100% effort into it. And then the next step is what we close out the contract, we do the cycle. So this is how we do a business development cycle. Here's what you're going to do if you want to do a different type of career. So this works exactly the same way. So let's say, does somebody have a dream job they want to share? Go ahead. Well, what? School counselor, right? So I want to be a school counselor. So the same thing applies. The same formula, guys. So okay, well, let's see. What type of companies hire school counselors? Are there different levels of school counselors? What? Elementary school, maybe junior high, college, right? Would you want to do some research into like school counselors? What would you want to find out about that career as a school counselor? How do you get into it, right? How do you get into it? What else?
Salary.
How much does it pay, right? Is it worth the time? Like, what does that look like, okay? There's a Bureau of Labor Statistics that gives you salaries and tells you how much different career fields pay. And there's always a top 10 field. So it's like, I want to be a neurosurgeon. Cool. Okay? You can do that if you want to. So you do the research, you look at these, and then you go back over here, and what do? I want to be a school counselor. What do you think is one of the first things you should do? Go, you know what? Do I know any school counselors? Then you find some. You go and start Googling different schools. Hey, my name's Ryan Martinez. I really want to be a school counselor. Do you have 30 minutes to talk on the phone? Yes, of course, Ryan. I'm excited to tell you what I know. Awesome, thank you. Good. Next, you do this, you get an idea, and then somebody will call you and say, hey, you want to be a school counselor? We're having a conference next week. Do you want to come? This would be really cool for you to check it out. But you're never going to get there if you don't do what? You don't put yourself in situations, you don't ask, you don't do all this stuff.
Please pardon the interruption. you have not already done so, please check your email and show your students the dress-up days for next Rivalry Week.
You guys get to dress up?
Rivalry Week is next week.
Must be nice.
They can watch it on YouTube later.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. So this is something that we do to get new clients, but you can. This is a prospecting for you for career field, right? I want to be a school counselor. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a police officer. I want to be an Instagram blogger that travels the world. Cool. Find some Instagram bloggers that do that. Connect with them and see if you can get something going. Right? Anybody have any questions about this? Anybody have any questions about what we talked about? Nothing? No questions, huh? Cricket. Is this helpful stuff for you?
Yes.
Yeah? Thinking about your future, right? Yeah. I hope it helps. If you don't have any questions for me, thank you guys for coming. This was a pleasure speaking with you. And our winners again. Give them a round of applause for that winning job. So, right, thank you. Marcy, did you want to come up and talk a little bit about your role and how you got into this at all?
We only have 2 minutes.
We do.
Yeah. Probably more like 1 minute, to be honest.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. Yeah, you can get on our website and check it out. If you have any questions about anything, you can shoot me an email down here. Scroll to the bottom. info@Surge Consulting Group. Shoot me an email. I'm happy to answer it. We're gonna have some resources available pretty soon on the website for you to be able to check out, so you can kind of get an idea. But I'm telling you, please don't forget these. I really think that this can help in a lot of different ways, and you never know. So anyway, cool. All right, thank you.